Am I the only guy who could be annoyed of people who are doing this when they are vlogging? Because if you also are annoyed of that, yay! Fantastic. Hello and welcome to the vlog. I am just on my way to the grocery store because yay, I want to buy some stuff. It is in the start of the month and I'm not going to buy that much, but I just need to get outside every day and go to the grocery store. So I made a rule for myself, go to the grocery store. Yay, fantastic. Okay, so today I have been doing the podcast. And I'm just made the podcast, and now I am on my way home. Not on my way home, on my way to the grocery store. I was just home from home there. Fantastic. So, yes. Today in the podcast we were talking about gaming stuff and the new format for... Actually, not in the podcast, we were talking about the new format for the podcast. But before the podcast, we were talking about the new format for the podcast. Just to warn you all, the new format for the podcast is that I want Philip and I want Gaming Goal. I think that she prefers to be called Gaming Goal, so I'm not going to use her forename anymore. But I am going to use those two to make the podcast from now off. And when I maybe find a third one who can do the podcast properly, I can switch around those three. But I would prefer to use Philip and Gaming Goal every time I'm doing a podcast. So if they doesn't have time, we are not going to do the podcast. So actually now it relies on their hands to say, no, we're not going to make the podcast. And not my hand. So that is a new thing for the new format for the podcast, and I really hope that it doesn't annoy too many of you that I'm going to make the new format. Okay, so you might ask me, Lolpi, are you really doing a vlog out in your kitchen? And apparently I am. I'm going to make some meat and eat it, and we can talk while I'm doing that. So welcome to the podcast. Actually went pretty well, even though that we haven't prepared anything for it, and I really mean that we didn't prepare anything for it. It's just we just said, okay, we're going to do this. We are going to prepare anything, or we don't know what we can talk about, and maybe we can go on for an hour. We don't know. So yeah, that happened. Yay. And actually it went pretty awesome, and I think that I were pretty glad for the result. But of course, as always, something goes wrong, and something this time was, oh fuck, I forgot to actually click the record button for my vlog, not vlog, my podcast. So yeah, I didn't record it actually, or actually I did, because luckily me, Twitch is actually my hoe, and they actually record all content that goes on it, as long as it's not music content, they actually keeps it. So and the renders, I could just straight away export it to YouTube. So I decided to do that. Word. And just saying here, when you're doing meat like this, be careful, because it can't go wrong, and often most of my meat goes wrong, so be careful with what you're doing. Maybe I should use the other one here, so less like this. And that's all I need. Some salt and some pepper. So yeah, it actually was that day. Now I'm going to export it to YouTube, or actually it is exported to YouTube. I'm going to download it from YouTube, and then I'm going to render. I think it was the first actual quarter of the podcast, not the streamed first actual streamed quarter of the thing, but the actual podcast, because I always start streaming about a quarter, maybe more before I starting the actual podcast. But then I'm starting the podcast, and I think that in the first quarter, maybe first half hour, I'm not sure, I forgot to record. So you're going to get YouTube content from that, but that's fine, because it's still the same content that goes to Twitch that goes to YouTube, not YouTube, to my recording sessions. So that's actually good. But once again, I think that I stopped too early the recording and the stream, so I'm really sorry, guys, if I did that. I hope that you can forgive me for it, because that's just how I am, doing weird stuff. When you're cooking like this, do this. Okay. It's easier. And then you're sure that you get used. So, yeah. What I'm going to do the rest of this night, maybe, is transcoding and the editing the things in the podcast, downloading from YouTube, and I'm not going to play more Heroes of the Storm. I just actually first time ever I think that I rage quit a game. I just used to say that this didn't happen, and if it did, it shall not happen again, and I really mean again in the rest of my lifetime. Because think that I don't know if you know Heroes of the Storm, but imagine that you were going 5 people to a what should we call it? You're going 5 people to a boss, and everybody agrees to, yay, now we're going to the boss, and 5 people on the boss, and then there's 2 enemies at the boss, and they didn't actually attack the boss of those 2 enemies, but 2 of our guys actually choose to say, 2 enemies, we're going to chase them and die. I just saw them chasing, and now we were 3 people, and actually down to 2 people who were actually attacking the boss, and I just said, no, this can't happen. And then I actually pulled my plug for the internet, and the last thing I heard was just Philip saying, but then, and then just silence. So yeah, that was actually pretty hilarious. For tomorrow, I don't know what I should do for tomorrow. What are we going to see about that? And I'm going to do the dishes, and until we all see each other next time.